What's up, everybody? Can you hear me? There we go. How's things going? You guys learning a lot? All right, this is super bright, so excuse me if I'm squinting a little bit here. What's going on, guys? My name is Matt Schmitt. I'm here to talk to you today about difference makers. I know that sounds like a cool, maybe like what ESPN would use for like a headline or something like that, but it is really something that I truly believe in. It was something we, at a top level, incorporate into our business on a daily aspect. Every time I open a store, we start with these things that I'm going to be showing you here today. So these are the things that you're going to be wanting to write down, conscious things that you're going to want to implement into your business over time. A lot of people are teaching you, the functional things, the day-to-day things, and you're going to be learning a lot of that here. This is going to be really top-level stuff that you can guide you through the next couple of months and years to come. So let me go ahead and use this. Quick background on me. Peter covered a whole lot of it, but I've been doing paid traffic for 8 years. I got a nice fancy degree, then I got out of college and there were no jobs, right? I got out of college at the height of the recession. I had an IT degree, and if you're familiar with what IT looked like at that time, jobs were just fleeing and getting outsourced overseas. So there was nothing there for me. I had a girl that I wanted to marry and I couldn't get a job for 8 months. So I decided to do my own thing. I was like, I can build a website, I can rank it, I could get some kind of value to people and get money for that. So I tried that. SEO was just kind of not something I understood, but I ended up being pretty darn good at Google AdWords. Started pushing traffic to that. Then I started pushing traffic to affiliate offers, got really good at that. I was pushing a lot of traffic from AdWords to a Google affiliate offer. They had a Google affiliate network at the time, and for every 8 cents I was spending, I was getting 75 cents for a sign up. I had no capital at the time. It didn't dawn on me that I could go out and get some, but I was doing as much as I could and turning it over and doing really well. And in the meantime, I ended up getting a job at Anheuser-Busch in St. Louis. I'm St. Louis born and bred, so you always want to work there, or maybe a handful of other places when you're born in St. Louis. I ended up doing well there as well, and I was still doing this on the side. The reason I like telling people about this is because a lot of you might be in the same spot, right? You're working in the corporate world, you have a job, but you always have that itch to do your own thing, explore a little bit more. I can be doing more, creating my own thing. So that's really where I was. I would go home from a 9-10 hour day at Anheuser-Busch, and then I would do another 8-hour day at my own job. A lot of the times, at the real peak of this, I was going to bed about an hour before I woke up the next morning to go to work. So, but I was driven. I was willing to sacrifice. I had things to do. Then I started realizing that can't last forever. So I was burning the candle at both ends. In the meantime that this was happening, Facebook was just coming up, right? 6 years ago, or when we were getting started 5-6 years ago, you couldn't advertise in the news feed. It was all about building your fan page up and then kind of driving traffic to your offer through that. Well, things were opening up. This little thing called Teespring came about. And we started selling t-shirts. I was doing an offline business at the time. I was going out to people, building out their fan pages, getting paid for that. I couldn't scale that either, but this Teespring thing, I could scale up pretty well. It's print-on-demand world. So that's really where I started finding my footing. And then Shopify was really growing as well. I didn't really dive into that until I quit my job 2 years ago, which was an awesome feeling, really scary. I kind of took advantage of it for a little bit. I went to Cardinals games, didn't really work a whole lot, and then learned that no money was coming in, right? But I got back into the grind. Last year, we did pretty well. This year, we did over $5 million in sales in Shopify alone, so it's my second year out of the corporate world. I have 17 people that work for me and overseas and outsourced like that, so I can answer some questions towards the end on that as well. But it's been great. We do a lot of drop shipping. We do a lot of fulfilling through a warehouse, and we also do print on demand. So I'm all over the place right now, but it's taken a lot of time, and a lot of things that I'm going to be teaching you here today have been the learning lessons that I've had. So I have 2 companies. One's an information product business where I teach people like you. On the e-com stores, I have 4 of them now. I'll tell some story. I used to have 7. I'll tell a little bit more information about that. And then I have a Shopify app company, Smart Apps, as well, where we build apps to further build people's businesses. So some lessons learned over the years. Business can be scaled by clearing things off your plate. I just said how I had 7 stores at one point, right? Well, I don't care who you are, that's going to divide your time too much, right? And so what I did is made those hard choices, and I cut 7 down to 2. I didn't have as many people working for me at the time, and so when I did that, I started building out the processes and getting a lot better at what I was doing, right? And so I scaled it down, and I added zeros to my revenue, right? Because I was focused. Instead of being 10% everywhere, I was now 50% here, 50% there, and that's easily some time that you can implement into your stores, and you can take care of your stores and properly grow them the right way. Keep it as simple as possible. You see I'm using this plain white slide deck. I come from the corporate world where slide decks are like a production of film, right? If you have a job, you know exactly what I'm talking about. These decks were fancy. That's how I was like bred of learning how to do a slide deck. You had to make this presentation. And then my mentor, Don Wilson, would always have, and you're going to learn from him tomorrow, he would always have this white slide deck. Well, I learned stuff on those white slide deck presentations to him that made me more money than my job. And once I had that kind of breakthrough, it's just a simple reminder for me that keeping things simple as possible will actually help your business. And just making sure that you're not overcomplicating things, not getting in your own head, and not making things unnecessarily hard or complicated for yourself. Because this is hard, so don't make it extra hard. There's no reason to be doing that. Focus on your strengths and hire to cover your weaknesses. I talked a little bit about that yesterday. I truly do believe in that more and more. I know it's scary at first to hire people, but like if you're on the print-on-demand business, you should be outsourcing to a designer for a quality shirt design. I don't care if you even have an artist background, right? You have to make a decision. Are you going to be the guy that's selling the t-shirt, or are you going to be the guy that's designing the t-shirt? You don't need to be splitting your time doing both. I guarantee you'll make more money by delegating out your weaknesses to other people. And you don't have to be perfect or complicated to make money. Funny thing about one of my stores, it's kind of embarrassing to talk about because it's kind of an easy thing to correct and something that you should definitely do. But I did over 6 figures on a store that had the wrong logo on the checkout page. So I got people into my store, they're really interested in the product, they took it to the checkout, and a different logo was showing when they got there. Still made a lot of money. So did I lose people? Absolutely. Did I learn my lesson? Absolutely. But it wasn't perfect. And so a lot of people in this stage in the game think that I'm going to launch my store 2 months from now, right? Because I'm going to perfect it before it gets going. I'm going to launch this shirt business 2 months from now. You don't need to do that. You just get it going. Take the steps. Put action. What Chris is teaching you, what everybody else is teaching you here, put it into action right now. I guarantee you that you'll start getting momentum. Even if it's one sale today, you're just going to get jacked up about that one sale, and then you're going to get 10 sales the next day or 10 sales the next week, whatever it is. So, enough about me and my lessons. Let's talk about difference makers. I want to start at the top, right? So this is kind of like an all-around overview of the things that we're going to be talking about. Your niche. You should have this before starting your store. We kind of I touched on that yesterday. Like if you really want to sell flower paintings, you need to check the viability of that niche. That's why I always recommend people to go find something in a niche that's selling. Like if you know the nurse niche has got a lot of sales in it, go in that niche right away because you know that you can make money there. There's obviously a lot of money there. It's harder at first to create the niche. You can do that later. You can try to create the trend. You can have the product. If you're going for your own product, congratulations to you. But if you're looking to make some money today, just go where the money's at. All right? So the niches that are proven that you see the ads for, you're all getting blown up by ads of some kind of seller from me, somebody else. So those are the kinds of niches that you can step in and do your own thing. So the product offerings are going to be what you're offering to your customers. I'm going to talk about some methods that have really worked for me that I learned in the corporate world. That I still implement to this day, and it makes me a whole bunch of money. I have an example about that as well. And then your customer experience. The funny thing is that the top two, the niche and the product offerings, roll into the customer experience. The customer experience is the number one thing that you need to be worried about. Everything that you do needs to be about the customer experience because those are the people you're trying to win over. It doesn't matter how fancy your store is. If it doesn't provide a good customer experience, you're going to lose money. You're going to lose sales, right? You can have the best widget on the planet, but if nobody knows how to use it, then it doesn't make a lick of difference, right? It could be the best thing in your mind, but if the customer doesn't know how to use it, it doesn't like it, doesn't have a good experience with it, then it doesn't matter, okay? So your niche, we talked about it yesterday, passion or profit, right? This is just the earliest steps of your business. When you're just getting started, I like to tell people to decide on passion or profit. It's not mutually exclusive, right? It's not that you can't make profit in your passion, but the difference is I can go into a niche that I know there's profit and get started immediately without getting any kind of emotional attachment to it. When there's emotion in business, you kind of make the wrong decisions. Let's be honest. You really want to sell flower paintings, but you think they're the best things on the planet, but nobody else does. What's that? What's the value of that? It's nothing, right? But nurse T-shirts, I've made probably close to $250,000 in the nurse, more than that in the nurse niche, because I knew there was money there. I'm not a nurse. That's not what my job was. I wasn't very passionate about it. The funny thing about it was I took the one step removed approach. So my mom was a nurse. Sorry. And so I asked her a bunch of questions that only like nurses would know. I'm like, what are you guys passionate about it? What do you guys spend your day doing? What do you think? What separates the nurse from somebody else? And given what nurses, she responded with like gold to me, which was awesome. And anybody else you can ask a friend, a loved one, somebody about inside things about a niche. She said that nurses, due to what they see, are very religious, right? And so I made a shirt about a nurse prayer. And I sold close to $20,000 of that nurse shirt. So just having that small conversation, getting a little inside information on the nurse niche, led me to a $20,000 campaign. I was in New Orleans celebrating my sister-in-law's 30th birthday while the campaign was going. That was pretty cool. So that was a great, easy inside information that I got from my mom from a 5-minute conversation, and all I had to do was pry in. I didn't have any emotional attachment to it. I knew somebody that did. So if you have somebody that and everybody knows somebody who's just overly passionate about whatever it is they do, their hobby, whatever it is, if that's a cool niche, if there's some money in that niche, get some inside information about that. Don't waste money just because you think it will work. I've seen this time and time again where somebody will be like, my ads aren't working. And you'll spend a couple $100 on ads. And then I look at the real metrics that you're learning here in this class, right? What was your cost per link click? Well, it's $5 cost per link click. It's like, and you let this run for several $100s, and you're trying to sell a T-shirt, that was never going to be profitable, right? So you were running something because you thought it worked without looking at the real data and making business decisions versus emotional decisions, right? So that's when you're getting early on, it's very important. Your store. So let's talk about the next thing. I'm going to drink of water real quick. This is something that's worked for me time and time again. Now, I know there's going to be other people that disagree with me, that are like me, that teach this, but it's proven over and over and over again. How many products did Apple start with? Does anybody know? 1, right? So I created a store, the one with the wrong logo. I created a store, and I built everything about this MVP model around this store. So I minimize the variables when I'm starting out. I minimize it as much as I possibly can. I create what's called a minimal viable product, or MVP model, right? Basically, I'm starting small and allowing myself to scale up, right? I'm not throwing in a bunch of products that are unrelated to each other, or because I saw all these products winning, I'm trying to throw that over here. I'm starting small so that when I'm driving traffic to it, I know what's going right as much as I know what's going wrong, right? I know that when I'm driving traffic to a single page, if there's nobody adding to cart, then there's an issue there, right? Is it the pricing? Is it the product image? What is it? And no one's adding it to cart. If they're adding it to cart but not purchasing, I probably have an issue with my shipping cost, or I have something with taxes or something there. That's the chink in the chain. So minimizing the variables at the very beginning allows me to scale up in the proper fashion. I've done with single product stores, I've done over $100,000 in revenue in very profitable scenarios over and over and over again. And a lot of my clients have done that, and coaching students have done that as well. Works out very well. And you see, like I said with the Apple, starts with one product. How many businesses have started with one product? And they moved out after they knew how to have their bread and butter, making them day in out in revenue and profit. So this is needed to create enough trust with your customers that they will purchase from you. So I says minimal viable product. We're not doing like nothing. We're going to do some stuff. We're going to create some pages. to make sure that the customers are having that good experience that we talked about. And the cool thing is it's quick and low cost for you to put up, right? So it's perfect for somebody just starting out. The first store took me a while to go and to put up because I was trying to be perfect with it. I can put up a store still probably to this day, even though I have staff that helps me do things like that. I can still do that in like an afternoon. And it's not hard for you to do as long as you have the right pieces in place. So here's what an MVP model store looks like. So as you're creating your store, this is the model that I follow, right? So your pages are going to be the home page, right? And that's going to display a lot of information, have a nice banner on it. Your catalog page, which is going to contain the products that you're having. We'll talk about what products to put up in your store. The products themselves, the product pages, you got to spend some time in there. You got to put work into your copy and stuff like that to really convince people to buy from you. Your About Us page, I have had thousands and tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of views on my sites. One of the top pages is the About Us page. And a lot of people don't even bother doing it for whatever reason. People want to know who they're buying from. They want to know who they're spending money with. Yes, you can make a lot of money today off of just having a store with no kind of information. But what about tomorrow, right? I don't like having conversations with people about their stores or how they're driving traffic if they're just focused on today. We got to focus on. I didn't quit my day job just to make money today, right? I want comfortable lifestyle going forward for years, right? And so that's the kind of stuff, the About page, the Contact Us page, then the next line, the terms of service, the shipping policy, the privacy policy, they're needed. You need to put that stuff up. You need to take the effort. And the cool thing is the terms of service privacy policy is a one-click button on Shopify and you can get a template version out. Shipping policy, be transparent, right? People get upset more about you not being transparent than the actual shipping time. A lot of you guys might be sending stuff from AliExpress. People are okay with a longer ship time as long as you're telling them about it and you're not just trying to hide that aspect of it. We'll have it right on the page and we'll still get nice conversion rates, right? Because we're being transparent. I'll put it everywhere because if somebody does come back to me and say, hey, I didn't know it was going to take 2 weeks to deliver this product, I'll be like, well, it was on the product page, it was on the shipping policy page, it was on the email confirmation that you got afterwards. So, and they'll be, all right, sorry, I missed it. Not, you were being, as the seller, were being completely, not transparent and kind of shady, right? And screwing people over. You want to be as transparent as possible. So we like to have those pages in there. Critical points for customer experience, the money-back guarantee, 30-day money-back guarantee, whatever it is that you want to put in there. The return policy, the contact info, how do they get in touch with you if they have a concern, right? One of the biggest things if you're going to create a Shopify store is hire a customer service rep with experience. My customer service reps used to work at Apple and Dell. There are tons of people with years of experience that will handle situations way quicker than you could ever do and in a much better handling, right? And so it's very important that you hire that person. That's the most important hire of a Shopify store, in my opinion, because of that customer experience. And then safe and secure checkout. Again, that's like a banner and things like that. I'm sure Chris is teaching you how to use that. The main question that you want to address, you're not going to outright say it, but can I trust you as the potential customer? And you all have seen probably scenarios or stores of untrustworthy people. Anybody seen a store that looks very shady? Yeah, no, it happens on a day-to-day basis, right? So again, that could probably make you money today, but if you're in this for the long term, like I am, then you got to do the right stuff so they can answer that question. So up to this point, guys, get another drink of water. It hasn't mattered what product we are selling, right? I didn't talk about print on demand. I didn't talk about drop shipping. I did talk about both of those, but the pages on the previous screen, it didn't matter what I was selling, right? We're solely focused on the customer experience. And that's all that matters at this point. A ton of your competition will totally ignore what I just said, right? You guys know that thousands of people are entering the e-com space at this very moment, right? So the reason that I wanted to teach you guys the difference makers is because I look at that, a lot of people get scared with that, right? Does that scare anybody that thousands of people are doing this? I'm sure it does a little bit, right? I think of it as an opportunity because 99% of them, and I just made up that stat, but a lot of them are going to be doing it wrong. So if you do it right, you're going to be like a godsend to that potential customer, right? Because you can't fight the wave of Facebook ads getting slammed in your potential customer's face about Shopify stores and t-shirts and things like that. The only thing you can do is be the best person out of all that fold. And people remember, I can go Google my stores and see great reviews because we take every step possible to take care of our customer. I can go Google some other stores and see some real negative reviews. Over the long term, that stuff's going to catch up to the company, that website, that company. So the minimum needed in my minimal viable product is actually more than most people will do. And I wanted to teach this because you guys have already proven that you're willing to go the extra mile, right? You're in this room, you've taken the steps, and most of you probably don't live in Scottsdale like I don't, right? Or a good portion of you. And so you've already shown that you're willing to go the extra mile. So just implement that into your business as you're doing these print on demand or as you're doing the Shopify stores and things like that. Now that the store is built, let's focus on the products. So most store owners that I've seen, I put quotes around stores for a reason, they're throwing up as many products as possible with no reason to their layout, right? So even with like a general store, as people call that, you can put rhyme and reason into the products that you list in your store. I'm going to teach you how to do that. And I learned this all from the corporate world. I want you to think like corporations think, right? Because you're not reinventing the wheel here, right? You're doing big-scale corporation things on a smaller level. So that's how I operate my business on a day-to-day basis. Think about the dollar menu, right? That thing was genius. Every time I don't go to McDonald's very often, but every time I see that, I just watched the Founder movie. Every time I see that, it's just genius, right? It's like you've presented an opportunity, people, to take advantage of it, and they're going to spend more money with you, and you're still going to make more money. So you've presented somebody, and somebody feels like they're getting a deal, right? And they're going to spend their money feeling like they're getting a great deal, and you're still making profit on it. How genius is that, right? That's what you should be doing and taking into your kind of business as well, and you can do that kind of stuff. The Starbucks counter, I think it was the Profit, where they had a product going in, the Profit, the TV show. They had a product going into the Starbucks counter, and they basically straight up told them, you have to sell this many or you're gone. And you only get this amount of test stores, and if you don't sell in this amount of test stores, you're not going to all these other ones, right? But if you do, you get to go all these other ones and make a bunch of money, right? So I look at that same way with my products. Shopify, after you drive traffic for a certain amount of time, will allow you to go back in time and see what products sold. So every month, we launch, in my print-on-demand store, we launch 20 to 30 products per week. And we're very selective with what we launch. If I go back after the month, that's 80 to 120 products. I see what sold and what didn't. Whatever didn't sell is gone. Because options create confusion, and confusion leads to no one buying, right? There's case studies about this stuff, about how kiosks at the mall minimize their product and their sales spike, right? Same thing with your store. I don't want you throwing as many possible things. I don't want 100 pages worth of products in your store. You can, like I said, $100,000 with one product. I'm going to talk about how I've kind of learned from that model and grew that model a little bit in the next couple of slides, but $100,000 from one product. Or you could have 100 products and make no money because no one knows what's going on with their store. They got lost, and then they leave. So a personal one, beer aisle. My very first job at the beer industry was designing beer aisles. If you don't know, that entire thing is done through data. The second you walk into a beer aisle, you're in like a little like somebody like me is like a little data center where I put beer everywhere to make sure that you're buying something on the way out. So nearly everything in the beer aisle is designed to upsell you, if you didn't know that. Every time you get into a beer aisle, you're getting upsold. And grocery stores in general, but I wanted to use the beer aisle specifically. So everything from the price points to the package configurations are designed to upsell you. So I started looking at this, And here's like a beer strategy that you would use, right? So commercials and things like that, they lead you in with like the Bud Light six-pack. I'm not going to get into a beer discussion. Every time I tell somebody I work for Anheuser-Busch, they're like, oh, I don't like Bud Light or something like that. So let's not talk about that. Let's talk about what I know, and this is my wheelhouse here. So Bud Light six-pack is the lead item, and we'll talk more about lead items here in a second. But the lead item is always the item that's right at eye level. So if you walk into a beer aisle and you turn to the beer aisle, right here is the best-selling products in that whole row, right? So that's kind of like the ad, right, that you're putting in front of somebody's face. So the package upsells, right, the 12-pack, the 18-pack, the 30-pack are going to be like this, like that. So you look straight down from the six-pack, there's an 18-pack, or a 12-pack, 18-pack, 30-pack. And they're giving you value on the way up, right, because it's this pricing is not as good as this pricing, right? And if you turn like one beer bottle per $1 kind of thing. So the variations can be bottles, cans, tall cans, whatever, right? So if you're coming in for, like, I can't take bottles to where I'm going, right? Well, I can take cans, so they're right here, and I take that and I walk away, right? So the next thing would be price points, right? If you go backwards from where Bud Light is, you're going to have Natty Light, Busch, things like that. If you go forward, or go into higher pricing, you're going to have Stella, you're going to have the micros and things like that cost more. But it's always about what value do they bring, right? So in the micros, it costs more because the trend is micros right now, right? So you get more value out of that. So it's worth more to you. So you can spend more money with it and feel like you're getting a better deal. And then they have the same kind of package configurations as well. So what lessons from this, from people who do billions of dollars, can we implement into our businesses, right? Not every customer has the same amount of money in their pocket. So provide opportunities for everyone to leave with something, to buy something. It's very important because a lot of people do this very wrong. Everyone that comes into your store should have the opportunity to buy something, right? So think about that. Think about how I could screw that up. If all I have in my store are shirts, everything's going to cost $20 to $30, right? But I really like this design that you have on the shirt. So if I get into your store, but I don't have $30 on me to spend, I really like it. What do? Well, now there's a coffee mug over here that I saw. It only costs $14. I can leave with that coffee mug, right? If I didn't list coffee mugs on there, I lost that customer and I lost revenue, right? You also don't know about it on the other side of things. So I did this the other day, so I wanted to use it as an example. So I'm a big fan of The Rock, and he came out with the Under Armour designs the other day, and it just happened to be on my birthday. So I went into the store, wanted to buy the shoes. Then I saw that he had shirts. Then I saw that he had tank tops. Then I saw that he had shorts. So I bought all of them. So I bought $370 worth of stuff when I came into the room to spend $100. I wouldn't have done that if A, they didn't create the product, and B, they didn't present it to me. Under Armour is on point with all of their marketing. So if you want to follow a brand with like their retargeting and just buy something from them, get into their funnel, and it's amazing. I'm getting hit with different offers and different sequences all the time from them. That is just amazing. I'm always buying stuff from them too, so it tells you how good it is. So I spent $370 because the opportunity was there. A lot of people don't understand that I got a lot of value. I was very happy to spend $370 on it, right? If I didn't have that opportunity created, I would never have done it, and I don't feel as happy as if I just got the shoes. I was wearing Rock stuff in here yesterday, if you guys all saw me. Like, I'm all about it. So they provided an opportunity for me to get a lot of value. So if you don't do that in your store, you never know who's walking in with $375. Off the top of my head, the biggest order I've ever gotten, single order in one of my stores, was $2,500. I have no idea what state of mind they were in, or why they needed so much stuff, or who they were giving all those shirts to, or whatever. It was a real order. It wasn't a fraudulent order. It was a real order. We verified it, emailed the person, followed up with them, and a bunch of stuff I'm going to talk about later. Treated them like royalty, kind of thing. But if I had not provided savings to go up to that point, they never would have done it. So I'm providing opportunities to people, and they are taking it. So here's the lead item strategy that I have for you. The lead items what we drive our traffic to. You can have multiple lead items. I'll show you an example of why you need multiple lead items here in a second. Best practices with this item, under the $60 range. Just proven price points. The $20 to $50 range, why would I recommend the $20 to $50 range or under 60? Anybody have any idea? Just think about who's speaking at this event in terms of platform owners. T-shirts. T-shirts have been getting slammed in people's newsfeed and probably are the most sold single item on Facebook the last couple of years. Platforms, Teespring, Viral Style, Gear Bubble, all these platforms have been built on the price points of $20 to $50. $20 being the shirt, $50 being the hoodie. It's proven. People can spend that in an impulse manner. So that's why I like having my lead items. Under $60 ranges is just, depending on the niche, you can have up there. I've had it up there, and it works very fine. Obviously, the higher you go, the more money you're going to have to spend, a little bit more work you're going to have to do to convert that person, but it's just a proven price point. Trending, new, or unique items are great because that further drives the impulse, because we're trying to do direct sales here, guys. As much as we want to do retargeting and do the follow-up sequences to get people to convert, I want to get as many people on that first yes as possible. So if you have a trending item, something that's brand new in a niche, or it's unique to the niche, that works out really, really well. That's also a reason why shirts work so well, because it's constantly new. I've been doing t-shirts since Teespring started blowing up. And people always say, oh, the nurse niche or the mechanics niche or all these niches, it's overdone. There's no more shirt designs that can be done. No, there's constantly shirt designs hitting me every single day that I didn't even think about. I'm like, oh, that's really smart. And I've been seeing these things every single day for years now. And I can tell you it's not going to go away anytime soon, but you got to think creative and uniquely. And it's not that hard. You just got to train your mind to think that way. One of my best-selling items in December on my Print on Demand store was something I saw in my grocery store. And I modeled it, right? So I took it, I'm like, that would look really good on a shirt. And I took that item and that design and put it on a shirt. $50,000 later, my groceries for the year are paid for, right? I could go a little extra. I'm getting the organic stuff now because that would have cooked out really well. So that's something to always have, just my eye is always trained. It kind of annoys my wife. Not annoys my wife. It used to annoy my wife. Now she really likes it because she sees what happens afterwards. But she was like, you're not listening to me. You're thinking about how to put that on a shirt. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what's happening right now. But it's working out, right? So that's just how my eyes are trained now. So at least a 50% profit margin in your item. If the higher the better, right? But if you can get at least a 50% profit margin, usually you can cover your costs and convert people because you're going to have your ad costs, you're going to have your fulfillment costs. If that's baked into your shirt, that's fine. You're going to have your team costs, you're going to have taxes and everything else. You want to make sure that you have enough profit there to run it profitably. I always say that anything can be sold with ads. The problem is selling that item profitably, right? So you have to have that markup there in order to make it work. So MVP model for your products. So we talked about the lead item. Now we're going to talk about the average order value builders, right? I want to raise up that average order value because the higher my average order value is, even if my competition is selling the same item, I win. I have plenty of competition in one of my niches. I can win, and I did win because I know I have the biggest fan page. I can win because my average order value is better. I'm bringing in more profit every time I get a sale because they're not just buying my lead item. They're buying this over here. They're buying the $2,500 worth of stuff. They're doing all these different things that my competition doesn't care to bother with. So that's why the difference maker is making sure that you have good sequences of products to offer to people. So we're going to talk about two different price points, the higher and the lower. We already talked about it in the beer example, but let's talk about it in the physical product business, the e-commerce business that we have here. So the lead item being a t-shirt, right? Proven price points. The lower price could be the mug. Talked about that, right? Because they're not buying a t-shirt, they're buying the design that's on the t-shirt. They're not buying the mug, they're buying the design that's on the mug. You have to remember that. So we want them to leave with something. So the lower price would be the mug. The higher price could be the hoodie, right? The golden ticket is when they buy all of it, right? And that, we want to provide that opportunity to people. But you never know when somebody's comfortably like, yeah, I can spend $60. Oh, they have a hoodie, I'll spend that. Oh, I want the shirt too, I'll spend that. So that's $80. But if I didn't take the time and the effort to create those, That's why Gear Bubble has been so successful and Viral Style have been so successful, is because they started going to other products. We used to be just t-shirts, guys. We were doing t-shirts before hoodies were available, right? Teespring wouldn't be worth what it is today, and same with these other companies, if they had not expanded out. So you're going to have to take the same mentality with your business. If you're just offering one thing only, then you're going to lose out on some opportunities there. So next example, lead item is a necklace. Jewelry is awesome because the markup is fantastic, right? And it's very unique, and people treasure it. So the lower price could be a bracelet. The higher price could be the actual combo itself, right? You can have the bracelet necklace combo because people love to do that, and that could be listed as a product listing in your store. Because when you're doing Shopify, generally, you are fulfilling it manually yourself. So you can create a product listing that has both of them together and provide extra savings to people. When they come to your site, your theme will show the product, and underneath it will show the single bracelet or the combo, and they save more money, right? There's some more advanced things you can do, but I wanted to make it very simple for you guys to implement this into your business. And people will take that option. People will take the combo because you're giving them value. They're getting savings if they would have bought each one individually, right? So, rotate in new leads, obviously. At a top level, very top level, I want us to talk about a product life cycle. Something enters the market, it gets really exciting, and then it comes back down. Everything does it. You know, some are like this, some are like that, but it always happens, right? And so you have to rotate in new leads. I've seen time and time again, people just like yourselves get a lot of success and then fall off, and they can't figure out what's happened. They think their ads are broken. I'm like, well, they're still trying to sell the darn thing that they sold 1,000 of, and everybody told you yes that was going to say yes, and everybody that told you no was going to say no, right? And they moved on. They don't want to see your ad anymore. So you rotate in a new lead. So here you can see on the left side, I was on the downward slope of a very hot product. I sold over $100,000 worth of that product in March. I was on the downward slope. Had a little thing there in the middle of the week because I was testing out some new products, and the new lead item took over on April 7th, right? And I was scaling it up. I was testing it earlier in the week, but the new lead item took over and exploded, right? So I probably would have went like this if I just kept trying to force it, and all the ad spend would start racking up more and more, and it got more costly and things like that. So when I tell you to sell one item, I don't tell you to sell one item forever. I'm just telling you that we're putting one product into the market at a single time, getting as much exposure of it we can, and then we move on, right? Does that make sense? So this worked out really well, and that product's still selling today, but I can start to see the downward slope of it coming on the horizon. So I'm going to be testing things to rotate in and keeping that product pipeline full that I was talking about yesterday, right? Because the one-hit wonder guys, the competition that you have is going to, maybe it's your own product too. Maybe you got somebody that's going to rip you off, because unfortunately that happens a lot in this business. They're going to come in, try to start selling it. Maybe it gets exposed out there. But you're going to be one step ahead of them because you've got a product pipeline. You already got something that's going to go right back into that audience that's hot. I like getting siloed into niches. If a niche works out for me, I never leave, right? Because there's money there. I'm just not doing whatever. If something doesn't work, I'm just not doing something right? It's my fault, and I'll take that. Because I know there's money there, there's eager buyers there. I get siloed into that niche, and then we find other test niches and create silo, and another one, create silo. My biggest store right now, the one you're looking at right now, has several different silos that we will never leave. We constantly are creating products to put into the market. So, the lead item, like I just said, is usually what gets ripped off, unfortunately, by your competitors. The good news is all the other stuff that I talked about, they're not going to be doing, right? They're not going to be making as much profit per sale that you are, because you have nice average order out values. There might be a small percentage of people that do everything that you're doing, but it's not going to be the big group of people that you're going to be going against. You want to be different than everybody else, because most people think they care and they don't. They don't know how to do it, first of all, and then they really don't care to go the extra mile that you should be going. So, this strategy leads to a higher average order value, which is great. Make more money per sale, more per customer, and it has a higher conversion rate, right? Now you might be asking, if I have a lower priced item in my store, how do I have a higher average order value, right? But people are taking that combo, they're going higher, they're buying something at least, right? And it works out to be better over time, especially when you build out your product catalog in the right way and you have tons of products. Like I think thousands of products on my main print-on-demand store now, because we've done this so much and I know how to do this in a process. You always want to give people the opportunity to buy more from you, and it bumps up that average order value. And if they do buy the lower priced item, at least your conversion rate's higher. At least they didn't leave because they couldn't afford anything on your store, right? So people with less money to buy something have an option to buy. People with more money to buy something have an option to spend all of their money, right? You differentiate yourself from the market because you are offering 3 products where somebody else is selling 1. Your customers are taking a deal. Now, what do I mean by that statement? Someone's going to see your laid item, the thing that's really hot, the thing that's selling the most, the thing that's at the eye level, and they're going to rip that off. They're not going to even bother with everything else that's in your store, right? So you're offering 3 products, building that average order value up, where everybody else is just going to be trying to copy you on the 1. And guys, I got to tell you, on most niches, don't worry about competition. I'm constantly competing against other people, and it's working out just fine. But I'm doing these things to be different than the rest of the people and going the extra mile. And then customer service part of things, customer experience, is where we're really going to make the difference. I'll talk about that in a second. Your customers are taking the deal because it provides them the best value. Customers are super happy when they buy all these things from you. It's not bad. You're not doing anything bad when somebody spends more money with you. You're providing value. You're providing an opportunity for them, and they're ecstatic about it. I have somebody in my store that sent us a picture a couple days ago, head to toe in my stuff, of a single design, head to toe. And they couldn't be happier about it. Big smile on their face and everything. I have a buddy that I've seen an entire room. He sold like a bunch of house decoration stuff. Entire room of his design, like where it like blinds you. You can't even see what's going on. You're like, what am I looking at? And it's just somebody was so happy they bought everything. They bought the whole thing. So you're providing them a deal to do that, and they're getting a lot of value out of it. So all this produces a better customer experience. So that's what we want to go into next. So we've so far built our store to build trust, right? That's the most important thing. I can trust you. I can spend my money with you, and I don't feel like I'm getting scammed, right? And we've listed our products in a sequential way to provide value and raise that average order value up, right? And provide options, which is very important. The last step is communication to reinforce it all. So you guys ever heard of touch point marketing before? Yeah. So we're doing a form of that, right? Back to the beer industry. That's why you see a commercial, you see a billboard, you see a sign at a game, at a ballpark. You see beer things everywhere. It's at a bar. Every time you walk in, they're hitting you as much as possible, training you to think, when I want a beer, I go to the same thing with Coca-Cola, right? That's why it's everywhere. They don't care about polar bears. But you're going to think about, because that was cute, and now I'm going to go to the store, and all that polar bear was cute. In the back of my mind, you're thinking, that polar bear was really cute. I'll take Coke. They're just touching you as much as they possibly can with their marketing. So you're interacting and communicating with your customers on as many levels as possible, right? So this is a long list. If you want to snap it with a photo or something like this, this is all the possible touch points that I was thinking off the top of my head with your customer experience on Facebook alone, right? So you can reply to the comments of your ads. You can now private message commenters, right? That's huge. There's software to help you do that. I get a huge amount of value out of that. I'm going to show you why here in a second. You can retarget video viewers. If you use video, you can capture all the people that watch your video and retarget them with more content. Retarget visitors to your website, so somebody that visits and doesn't go any further, we can retarget them. Email newsletter signups, retarget ads to cart, people that add things to your cart and then leave without purchasing. Email people who abandon checkout, right? Those 2 steps right there are different. So add to cart and checkout are 2 different things. A lot of people get those confused. Checkout is when you actually enter the email address and go to the next step. So now you can email that person, which is another in the inbox. So now you're hitting them so far. You're hitting them on Facebook with comments and private message. You're hitting them with more content on the news feed. You're hitting them with their inbox with a newsletter. You're hitting them again with more content in their news feed with the add to cart and more emails. So you're hitting them on multiple different devices, multiple different times a day, and all that stuff, and your brand is always going to be constantly there. Don't worry about implementing this all at one time, but as you're learning, as you're growing, you can implement this stuff. And know that you have more stuff to do. You email info to buyers, right? Transparency. Thank you for your order. It's going to be this. This is how much it was. This is what it was. This is where it's going. And this is how long it's going to take to get there. Thank you very much. If you need anything, here's where to find me. And then email customers. There's difference, right? They didn't just buy from you. They're customers. You want to email them again, asking them to buy more stuff, right? You're retaining them for a longer period of time by doing that. So again, don't worry about all of this stuff right now, because I put the letters in bold of the ones that your competition is more than likely just doing. So they're doing 3 where you have all these other things available for you. The easiest low-hanging fruit, I would say, for you to attack would be the private message commenters. There's different pieces of software out there. I'm sure Chris has maybe even talked about this. But private messaging people who comment on your site is super powerful. How powerful? You see this screenshot over here? That's my discounts, right? So the one at the very bottom, I created a discount. I private messaged people who commented on my site. 1,768 people, or 48 people, purchased. My average order value is $60. Since February 17th, $60,000 plus of people who bought stuff from me from just the discount, saying, hey, thanks for commenting on my ad. Here's a discount. Come check out the store at your leisure. They happen to be also getting retargeted and all these other things when they remember that code, and they go and they take advantage of it and they buy from me. Those other ones are stuff that I've been playing around with, but that's not even a fraction of the list of the different discounts we have going, because we always are creating. I think the top one's actually Easter, if I'm not mistaken, but there's a lot of other ones available there as well. So reply to comments, address issues. If somebody is complaining, answer the complaint. I know that's scary. You want to hide it, and you want to block the people, you want to ban them and move on. I did that a lot at first, so don't worry about it. But I can't speak enough about the value of somebody seeing that you're being a human and correcting an issue publicly, right? If you're saying, I can't find my order, where is it? And they're getting likes, and then all these comments are coming after it, and you attack that immediately and say, here's your tracking number, or you probably don't do that, but say, here's the email address, we have your tracking number, we're more than happy to follow up with you and show you where your product is at. I have numerous examples of that where that gets a bunch of likes, right? Because people want to see you being a real person. They don't want to be sold to by a robot. And all your replies and your private messages and things like that, you need to act like you're a human being, right? You're one of them. You're a small business owner. People love that, right? So act like it. Be publicly about it. And I swear to God, it's going to curate a lot of revenue for you. Because everybody else, have you ever seen an ad of a product that's going viral, but then there's a bunch of people bashing it, and every reply is still about, thank you for commenting on my ad, here's the link to go buy. Because they're just very robotic. They're just replying with the same thing over and over again. That stuff is not good long term, and Facebook doesn't like it either. So if you're a real person, and you interact with your customers, you're going to win out versus your competition, regardless if you're selling the same product or not. Email newsletter signups. So there's plenty of on exit, like as somebody's trying to leave your site, they went to your site, they're trying to leave, capture that email. Give them a discount. Capture that email. Because you can present that discount to them right then and there, or you can start emailing them that discount over the period of time too. Right? Touchpoint marketing. I'm hitting them right as they're on the site, and I'm also emailing that discount over the course of the next couple of days. And again, I know a lot of you guys haven't even built your store yet and everything like that. Just take notes on this. I'm sure the slides will be there, and then implement this over time, guys. It's just some stuff to be conscious of, stuff that's going to make you a lot of money here, and you should be excited about, because you do make a lot of money from it. So email info to your buyers. Super simple. Reinforce shipping times, tracking info. We already talked about that. Email your customers. Tell your story. If you buy from me, you're going to get a whole lot of information about who we are. I'm not going to say what my site is, but you're going to understand our story. You're going to have the reasons for why we're here, why we're selling these things, and who we are. right? You're emailing your story. Occasionally, you can upsell, right? Which is great, because your customers are going to have trust with you. They're getting the product. They're happy. They might be sharing that product on Facebook. They're excited about it. And then you want to buy more from you, right? And Shopify allows you to track that over time, too. Differentiate yourself at the store, product, and customer experience level. I wanted to make sure that you guys understood this. Again, e-com is a nice, awesome, growing field. It's an exciting time to be here. Even with as much competition that I've seen in my time entering into the market, it's still a great time to be here because if you guys seen that the retail industry is on the slope, right? So as that happens, more people are getting more and more comfortable buying online. So I was working with a fraction of what you guys are today, of available customers, people that are comfortable online. I still meet people. The guy that cut my hair the other day, he's like, "What do you do?" I go, "Like, well, I have an e-commerce business." He goes, "Oh, I don't put credit cards online. I don't use my credit card online." And I was like, "Wow, you're one of, 7 people left that are not comfortable doing that." But at the same time, that's slowly going away. I mean, you see it day in and day out. The e-commerce industry isn't growing because the customer field is growing. We sold into dozens of countries last year. Dozens. We're still selling into dozens of countries. It's not just about the United States when you're at scale, when you're growing your business. Australia, Canada, United States, England, Europe, everything. There's lots of people getting more and more comfortable with e-commerce over the time period. The thing with that is what I was talking about earlier, is that people are going to get more and more skeptical if they get burnt, right? Because 99%, again, made up stat, of people aren't going to do it right. And if you just take easy, nothing that I said here was very complicated, right? But this makes me a lot of money, and I wanted to share it with you because you guys have already shown the initiative to be different than the rest of your competition. So it's just about taking big things, like the corporate stuff that I was talking about, and just boiling it down and implementing it into your own business. And as you grow, it's just going to be like second nature to you. We don't even think about a lot of this stuff anymore. I had to really think about all the different touch points and to list those out. And I might have even missed one, but the point of it is it's just second nature for my team now because I've implemented the process and tell them where to go and where to touch point and make sure that we're closing the sale as much as possible. So that's what I had for you guys here today. You guys have any questions? Mm-hmm.
One is, you had mentioned to get like the customer service going to Apple or some other company you mentioned. Would it also be wise to go to like your community college?
Yeah, well, so I didn't get it from Apple. They were previous customer service employees for, like these giant corporations train thousands of people who may not no longer be there. My 2 customer service reps happened to they wanted to go out on their own to be like a contractor. One had a child and things like that, so they needed a little bit more flexibility. Sounds familiar, right? I wanted a little bit more flexibility myself. So I found people with experience. You can go to upwork.com, jobs.ph, onlinejobs.ph, a handful of other sites that you can find these people with a lot of experience. The reason I want you to hire somebody with experience there is because it's the most important thing for your Shopify store. I don't want to be what's going to be the use of me? Somebody has terrible customer service relations. Like I'm not very good at training somebody else to do it. That person who gets trained that has never done it before is not going to have very good training, right? I would stress that, right? I pay for experience is what a lot of people would say. For your design, someone designing your shirt, somebody who's going to be your customer service rep, pay for experience. There's plenty of jobs like uploading stuff and getting a t-shirt campaign launched on Viral Style or something like that. You can have somebody with no experience trained on that because it's like the furthest thing away from the money. And like the closer you get to like actually being towards the money, the more experience I would say that you would need, right?
I have one more question.
Sure.
Email marketing. What does that mean? Or newsletter.
Okay, so you can see it on a lot of sites. Newsletter would just be like You can make up whatever it is. Again, I hired for experience with my email writer, right? So I hired somebody that's done millions of dollars in email copywriting. But basically what we want to do is we capture that email, right, on their exit. We say, hey, don't go yet. We'll give you 10% off if you give us an email. People are more than happy to do that. And then we send them a newsletter. Will just be like, you could do anything you want, like information about your company. Why should they buy from you? Why should somebody buy from you? So if you have somebody that hasn't bought from you yet, the best thing to do would be telling them why to buy from you, right? And don't slam them with other products and things like that. Just give them a general reason why they should come back to your site and spend money with you. What makes you different from everybody else, right? Huh?
I had two questions on your variants. When you have a product like a shirt and then say a mug and a sticker, are those all the same design that are on those, say, 3 products that you could get there?
Yeah, so if I upload a shirt, a mug and a hoodie would come with it. If I upload a design to a shirt, a hoodie and a mug would come with it in that scenario, right? And they can be listed in the same product if your supplier can fulfill based on that, right? Which a lot of them can. So one design, multiple different products.
And then the second question is maybe a little technical with that, but how do you do the variants in the Shopify? Do those have a separate link that they go to that's trackable within one certain page?
So there's 2 ways you can handle it. Actually, Robert was the first person I heard, the guy that was just speaking, first person I heard talk about this. You can actually upsell people within the variants, and this is going to get a little technical. So you can list multiple products, and then what is going to be at the SKU level is what's going to separate the different products when they're. So you have multiple products listed, and then the SKU would be what separates them on the fulfillment side of things. So it's tough to do like 2 products in one variant. You can have 2 products in one product listing, but 2 products in one variant is kind of tough unless you do it manually. That's why I was using it in the product example. So you could also have, so the mug, the shirt, and the hoodie are all in one product listing. And so you can label that like X design, package or whatever. And then you can have that mug separate as well, and the hoodie and the shirt listed separately too, because people find things differently as they're walking into your store, or not walking, but like coming to your store, right? Yeah, it's real technical, easily something that you find on YouTube. I'm sure Chris will have some information on that for sure.
I got the mic here.
Yep.
So you didn't mention blogging, and it's been mentioned earlier, or I didn't hear it.
Blogging?
Yeah, I mean, which is different than a newsletter, right?
Yeah.
Where does that come in your pantheon of?
Yeah, so I don't blog.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that it's wrong, right? I know a lot of people that make a lot of money doing blogging. My wheelhouse was paid traffic to direct response, right? I tried blogging. I can't write very well. I probably had grammar problems in this thing, to be honest with you. I know my strengths, and it wasn't about creating a blog. Now I have I have an email writer. We could do blogging, but when you're in the impulse area, the 60 and below, just try to focus on closing that sale. Tell your story indirectly from when they walk into their store. So they came in for your shirt, then they want to see your story. You don't need to do very much convincing and blogging with impulse type items, right? If you're selling something that like goes onto your skin, your applies, like that, you might need a little bit more information. If you're a little bit higher dollar, like $200, $300 kind of stuff, you're going to need more information to close that sale. So then I would in my personal experience, would step into the blogging. I just don't necessarily do it. Doesn't mean you can't be wrong. Somebody here might be making a lot of money off of it. Just my personal experience.
Okay. One more item. So shipping internationally, is that like another seminar entirely?
Yeah, it's a little bit longer than I got here.
3-minute version?
3-minute version is Gear Bubble has international shipping set up, right? They've negotiated the prices, and you don't have to worry about it, right? You just got to be aware of what the prices are for his shipping costs. So I would rely on somebody. The way we did it is my supplier had the rates and said, I can ship here. So I said, I can target there, and started selling there. So that's I wouldn't be the guy that's like negotiating with FedEx and doing all that other kind of stuff to send that there. I would just rely upon your supplier and what they can do, where they can ship. But there's a lot of different stuff like changing your currency and doing language conversions. That's why I stressed the Australia, Canada, United States, and England, all English-speaking countries. I said New England. Did I just say New England? Great Britain. Oh, well, yeah, throw it in there. Okay. I definitely have sold to Ireland, so it's in there. Yeah. Yeah. It's around there. Yep.
Okay, you mentioned a lot of emailing going on there. I don't know about yourself, but typing is not my speed. But so do you outsource? You just dictate instead of being robotic? You dictate to somebody to do your emailing?
Yes.
Responses? Okay.
Yeah, I tried it for a little bit, and then like no one bought anything from me. So it's like I'm gonna have to change that up, right? I'm not getting a lot of value out of it, or they're not getting a lot of value out of it, and I'm not getting a lot of value out of it. So you can get somebody pretty quickly to do that, and you don't have to do like what we're doing with the story and all these reasons and things like that at first. The most important thing is emailing the people that abandoned your checkout. Some of the softwares that you can hook to your Shopify store come with templated versions. Rely upon those. I am all about, one of the things I wanted to, after the little thing was over yesterday, I am all about reinvesting into my store, right? Because it's a business. So I did $1.7 million worth of revenue on one store. We just spent $20,000 redoing everything. Literally like 3 weeks ago. So it's never going to be perfect, back to my original point, and I never had to put that $20,000. That's one of the beauties of this business, is I didn't have to spend that money up front in order to drive that much revenue and that much profit, right? I could basically fund it, take it, do it again, take a little bit more, and constantly optimize and grow my brand over time. Nishant and I think Nishant's speaking tomorrow, we were sitting at a place eating breakfast this morning, and we're like, how much do you think that it costs to open up this breakfast joint? It's really nice. It's called the Breakfast Kitchen Bar over there. I was thinking about, like, how much do you think it costs to open up this place? And it's like, we're in a fortunate field where really, I mean, I spent $2,000 on this project store I'm trying to launch. I thought that was a lot of money. It's like, man, I've never done this on a store before I launch it, right? I usually just get a theme that's free or relatively free, and then drive a bunch of traffic to it, reinvest it, and drive traffic and reinvest it. Doing that up front without doing it was a mind shift for me. And I can do $5 million in sales in a year, but $2,000 was a lot for me to reinvest in my business. And that's the awesome opportunity that what we have here, is just get the basic emails out, just making sure that you possibly can. If you're not good at typing, I'm sure somebody is that you know, and just lean on them for a little bit. Maybe spend a little bit of money and hiring out. But just take the simple steps, and then you can start running later on. Yep.
Hi. I wanted to get back to the question about the combos.
Uh-huh.
When you post the image, do you just do what the design is, or do you do a collage of maybe the different products and then put that in the variants?
So I'm always going for the lead item. I'm always pushing traffic to the lead item. So the thing that I was talking about that's
like
up here.
the T-shirt would be?
The T-shirt. So
okay.
I do a lot of, if I'm using an image, I'm doing a lifestyle image. What does that mean? It's like if you were going to, Instagram is a huge platform for us right now, and we just run in the same ad, we'll use Instagram too. But everything on Instagram is like a great way of seeing how to market to people right now. So the way that like people are sharing things on Instagram, you can learn a lot from that. So lifestyle being, if somebody took a picture of me and put like some kind of entrepreneur design on my T-shirt right now, that'd be like a lifestyle, right? Somebody living the lifestyle that your messaging is displaying. So we'll get a lot of like in use. Like, so if we're doing a T-shirt or like coffee mug, the person's drinking the coffee mug, things like that. Think about in use, or how the lifestyle would be lived of the person that you're trying to convey. Okay. Beer industry, always doing that, right? That's why somebody, goes on a bike and then drinks a McUltra, or is at a party and drinking a Bud Light, or is at a nice restaurant and drinking a Stella, because they know who they're talking to, and they're projecting the lifestyle on people, right? And that's what they want you to, and that's what you need to do with your marketing too.
Okay. And then I just had, maybe you said this, but you were talking about statistics, and about 17 years ago I took a customer service seminar, and when you're talking about the customer experience, I work in an industry, I sold a product that a lot of people need but nobody wants. So my point is that if the customer has a bad experience, they're going to tell like 100 people.
Yep.
But if they have a good experience, they might tell one or two.
Right. But those 1 or 2 people might buy from you.
I know, that's what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
that's why it's so important to make the customer experience.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Oh, we've had, regardless of what we do, I refunded, sent a new product, refunded, and I had somebody that like bashed us publicly in like a Facebook group. I asked to join the group as the owner, and then wanted to like make up for it and tell the story and the art side of things. But yeah, regardless of what you do, you always have those individuals. But you're absolutely right. One bad experience, 50 people hear about it. On social media, it might even be more, because you never know who's on the other side of things. You never know who buys from you, right? What if they're an influencer? These people who are no one, but have this massive followings, right? So you never want to take that opportunity or that chance. You're absolutely right. Yeah, and the power of a good experience, they're always going to be talking about it. They're always going to be sharing it with their friends. A cool thing to think about when you're going, you just made me think of something. So when you're thinking about picking your niche, think about, like, I'm from St. Louis. So I love the St. Louis Cardinals, right? And everybody around me, all my friends, the people that I hang out with and things like that, all St. Louis Cardinal fans, right? So when I'm picking my niche, the reason PPE ads work so well, or website conversion ads work so well, or just like, the lifestyle ads work so well, because we're on a social platform. People forget that sometimes, right? So if you're on a social platform and you hit the right person with the right message, they're going to blast that out, right? And then that's going to be the likelihood of me blasting out a cool Cardinal shirt to people. The likelihood of one of those people buying is very high, right? So think about that with your niches. Like, that's why a lot of stuff, I'm not going to be able to do it off the top of my head, but some people go into niches like at-home winemaking. One of my clients wanted to do at-home winemaking, and he wanted to run PPE ads for it, and he was asking me why it doesn't work. I was like, well, there's 10,000 people on Facebook that like at-home winemaking, right? So why would you be running a PPE ad to that, right? 10,000 people in the entire United States who like at-home winemaking. This is years ago. But we ran a website conversion ad to it because it's much more direct. It's not relying on engagement. It was more successful. But you want to be in those niches. My point is, you want to be in those niches that people share, they talk about, and their friends are all in the same niche, right? Like, I like lifting weights. My friends like lifting weights. So if I get some kind of cool rock shirt, I had like 7 people ask me where that rock shirt was from, where they could buy it in store, and I was like, here's the Under Armour link. I bet you a lot of those guys bought it. That's the kind of stuff that you want to be doing in your business as well. So that kind of led me down the path. Did I answer your question? I forget what it was. Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Well, first of all, I just want to let you know we love our Cardinals as well. So,
Yeah.
Formerly your Cardinals.
Yes. Yes, I'm aware.
So
it's a very sensitive subject.
I
just
know
lost
it
my
is.
other
That's
team
why.
too. Thanks.
So earlier you talked about collections and things like this. My question is more on still images, videos, or do you use still images and make videos for your ads?
Like a slideshow?
What do you like? Well, slideshow or an actual video. Like, I've been taking, for instance, I have mock-ups of shirts in different colors. So I'll take those images and I'll usually do like a lifestyle picture, and then I'll just take like 5 of the colors and then just make a little video of it, just kind of a slide, like a video.
Sure.
And then I'll upload the video. But I don't know if that's right. What do you like? Do you like stills? Do you like videos? Do you like slideshows, carousels?
Different stages to it, right? So if I'm launching 30 products per week, it's kind of hard to do a video for all of that, right? So that's why the lifestyle images are going to be where I test with. Now we'll do a video as soon as possible, because video will always win at scale. So as you're growing your business, video right now is bar none the winner, right? So what I'll do is I'll do the lifestyle images, drive as much traffic to it, and say out of the 30, 10 are winners. I order 10 of those products. When I know they're winners, probably in the first couple of days, I order those from my suppliers. I get there and I film some videos, and then I launch those into the scaling portion of the week. So the problem with, it's not a problem, but the issue with this business model, right, is it takes a little bit of time to get your product, right? And you don't want to be ordering product to your house that you don't know is worth the investment. So that's where the image comes into play. Images still do very well. That's why we love doing it. Instagram, all that stuff, Facebook, Instagram, images do very well. But when you're churning them out like that, just get them up as quickly as possible. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. And then with the winners, you would order a video and do it. So a lot of people get scared when I say production and filming about videos. I got to tell you, I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars with my iPhone. Just taking out my phone. Hey, I'll be like, hey, Amanda, come over here. Could you put this on? Okay, thanks. Thanks. And I go put that into an ad and make a whole bunch of sales. It doesn't have to be perfect. It actually, in my opinion, does pretty well because it fits the platform, right? Those at-home videos, the iPhone sharing, and, you know, selfie kind of stuff. If you can do all of that stuff, it works out really well. So you don't have to do, you know, high-budget production videos. Eventually, once you're selling stuff, well, we're selling impulse items here. So the low-budget, you know, on your iPhone kind of thing works out really well. So to answer your question, video, but get there. Prove it first. Make sure it's worth the investment of time and money. Okay? Yep. Anybody else?
When you talked about emailing your store to your customers, like, what does that look like? Are you emailing your store as the business owner or as the brand? Like, how does that break down?
A little bit of both. You know, just you're a small business owner from St.Louis. You know, my mom was a nurse, and we decided that, you know, nurses deserve this product that can be, you know, express how they feel and how happy they are. You know, do a little work and do a little bit of thinking on it, but act like you're somebody in the niche, right? And then tell that story. It's even better. I mean, these days, influencers are not too hard to find, at least, and see what their story's about. See what somebody inside the niche that influences people is telling people. Say, you know, and then try to emulate that in some fashion. You know, don't be dishonest with them, saying that you were a nurse for 30 years and your feet hurt. Now you're coming out with this, not, you know, the perfect gel for their feet. But, you know, think about how you can express yourself and if you're like doing a general store, talk about how you're a general store. Just say that you're trying to provide the best products for people of all different hobbies and professions, right? That in itself is just a store that people will be like, I can respect that. The small business thing, guys, now more than ever, people love small businesses. They want to hear about small business success stories. They want to be investing locally and doing things like that. You know, and that kind of stuff you can take advantage of in the right sense, right? Because that's just being honest, right? Yep.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you for all the training you've been doing. I really appreciate it. One of the things that you mentioned in your presentation was, you know, starting with the lead product, and then all of a sudden on the back end you start to add all these things that add the order value to it.
Yep.
Can you just kind of just share a little bit of how, you know, what kind of thought process goes into building out that funnel and building, you know, those back end products?
Sure. So complement the lead item as much as you possibly can in some way, right? With designs and print on demand, it's super easy, right? Because you're just providing people the opportunity to wear that design more often, or to express themselves with a coffee mug or something like that, right? So with the jewelry example, I used the bracelet as a lower priced item, right? That is just, people like the matching sets. And they like, in that same regard as the design, like if it's like a I love nursing shirt or a necklace, they're going to have that on their bracelet. It's going to match. They're going to go together. The colors, it complements each other. So try to complement it or add value to the original product. So if you sell a cell phone case, a logical lower dollar value product would be a screen protector, right? Because in the mindset of the customer, they're trying to protect their phone. So think about that and add as much value onto that as possible. Screen protector, you know, extra big case, waterproof case, all that kind of stuff is complementing the original item in some fashion, right? So your value stacking lower and higher as much as you possibly can. Anybody else? I think I got a little more time. Otherwise, thank you very much.
Awesome, awesome. Crushed it. Woo, woo! Awesome stuff, yes? Killer, killer. So what I'm just